My name is Andre Battles. I am working for a company called SLM Holdings. We do have a stealth company that is specializing in fintech products. So the product that we are producing is kind of like a new age ATM that it's driven more by artificial intelligence and software than traditional ATMs, which are have typically been mechanically driven. So we're kind of trying to drive a lot of innovation in the space. They haven't really seen much innovation in like the last 40 or 50 years. So we're really trying to crack the code on that and kind of break it open. Just create something that's a little more modern and that relates to consumers of our generation significantly more than 50 years ago. Everybody's using AI now, tech, contactless car payments, things like that. So just want to bring that in. And so my role at the company, I'm a co-founder, and then I'm also the chief technology officer and chief operating officer. So for now, yeah, I'm just kind of working with all of the tech, all of the back end. I kind of devised our technology kind of, I guess, hypothesis. So you helped actually prove that. We took that to investors. They were like, "Oh wow, you guys actually can do this." So yeah, so I'm working on the tech side. We were just trying to come up with a system for counting coins that wasn't mechanically driven. A lot of the systems nowadays, like if a system that existed back in the day, if it breaks or like if there's some sort of adjustment in the currency, you have to pretty much rebuild the entire system. So we were just looking for a way to incorporate, some technology to actually, use a camera. We felt like I think it was Tesla that we were looking at, just the car company, and we were just amazed that like you have cameras that can detect people, as well as a human being. So we're like, well, what if we took that same concept and applied it to just counting money? Because it's going to count way faster than a human, but it's also probably going to be a little bit more accurate than like a mechanically driven system. And so that's when we reached out to you. We wanted to try and figure out, first off, is this possible to kind of collect that data via computer vision, and then also kind of transfer it to a system where we're able to analyze it, visualize it, and then record it and kind of reiterate and train the system a little bit better. And yeah, we obviously ended up landing on the machine learning model that we built. But that's what we were looking for. Just how can we use a computer, or sorry, a camera to count money as opposed to like a mechanically driven system. We had reached out to a couple other people before you, and they didn't say that it was impossible, but there were all of these different things that they required. It just seemed kind of extreme. This was my first time ever kind of working with a software engineer directly. So I didn't really know what to expect. And when we kind of went into it, we were going to work with some people freelance, and we interviewed a couple people. And then we got to you, and it was like, oh, this guy is like, we have to do it. Like he's just, first off, normal. And then second off, like you communicated things really well. You were like, very excited about just the AI in general. Like you have a passion for it, which is, some people just kind of treat it like their job or their, specialty and whatnot. Whereas you clearly had like a passion for it. And we obviously are passionate about our product. So it was just a perfect blend. And yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, I would say it was seamless. I mean, we haven't worked with anybody really since, but that set the standard really high. But just because the communication was great, just being able to explain to you what we were looking for, you explaining, what you needed and how the process was going to go, kind of providing that information back and forth, giving the data back and forth, and then actually having the end product be, high quality. And then I think that, even at the end, there were like a couple hiccups that we might have had, but like working through those and reiterating the product and getting it correct. You were sending me code to like run and try, and we were hopping on and just figuring it all out. So it was a great experience. I mean, it felt like, one thing that we were a little concerned about was just the distance, being in different countries and, how is this going to work? Are we going to be able to, streamline things the same way? And it was flawless. I mean, like it worked out perfectly. I mean, you would do things while we slept, and then we wake up and get to work, and then we'd have a couple hours where we overlapped and we were able to kind of make it work. So I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, it felt like you were in the room with us, which was great. So nothing but good things to say. We had the system, and we showed investors, and they saw the recording, and they were like, "Oh, this is great. It works." But just actually understanding the back end and kind of some of the just the specs and the algorithms that you were putting in to actually have it function the right way. I personally am not a software engineer or a developer or anything, so I had no idea what was going on. But after you kind of broke it down, explained it just in terms of, how certain things would be calculated, how that data would be transferred and recorded and whatnot, I thought it was extremely valuable just to see on the back end. Because as we go and move forward to integrate it with other, parts of the system, that'll obviously be really important. So that's kind of, I mean, I'm not a super I don't know software code or anything. So to me, that's probably like, that's the biggest thing. I'm sure somebody else, they're like, duh. But yeah, for me, that was the biggest thing probably. But it unlocked a lot of doors for us though. I mean, being able to walk into to investors and like especially non-technical investors that don't really understand, the back end of a software or really anything like that, being able to kind of take this novelty type to them and then being able to see like, okay, you just kind of put your brains together, wrote some code and, got a couple pieces of hardware and it works. That was huge. I mean, it was validating for us too, just because at first it was just a hypothesis, obviously. But being able to actually get it all put together and have a program that works and that we still have is was huge. The biggest thing I would say is just the communication. Just being able to like explain to you what we were looking for, and you touched on it. Just being able to use as few words as possible to kind of get a point across instead of overloading or overflowing with information. It can be a lot of overwhelming to receive that, especially if you're not technically sound in software engineering. So I feel like it was just very easy to communicate the idea to you, and you were able to receive it and then kind of work with us and let us know what we needed, what we didn't need. That was a big thing. Be like, you don't actually need to do, like, I think we wanted to do deep learning or something, and you were like, no, you just need machine learning. Like, you don't have to go that deep. If you take it to a certain level, you can, but for now, like, you guys don't have to do all of that. And so that was huge because we were like, oh, okay, this is actually, being able to simplify everything, I think, is key. And we just felt like you did that the best. You were able to break it down into normal terms that we understood and that we could kind of move forward with without having to, ask a bunch of questions or go back and review things. It was pretty straightforward. And I would 100% recommend you guys. I honestly don't even know if I would want to because I kind of want to gatekeep and keep you guys for us. But yeah, I mean, I think that for anybody that is just kind of, especially for startups or new companies, like I said, just because you do a really good job of simplifying the information and then kind of integrating it into whatever, product or program they're trying to run. So I would highly recommend anybody that's trying to do artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep learning, and anything that kind of falls in that sector to at least touch base with you guys on the front end and kind of create some sort of roadmap or figure out kind of what's the best route. Because I think that was a good thing. It wasn't that just told us what to do, but it was also like, when you guys get to this step, you're probably going to want to do this. And as you start to scale, you're going to want to look at these things and this is possible, this isn't possible. So it kind of just gave us a good framework of thinking for just how to build the product in general. So yes, I would give 2 thumbs up for anybody that's trying to talk to you guys. I would highly recommend it.